Hello, welcome to the Singles and Married Relationship Masterclass. This is a combined masterclass, and the purpose is to enrich your relationships so you can have a productive life. It is critical for us to understand that you cannot have a very successful life, you cannot have a productive life if you have a dysfunctional relationship. I'm going to say that again. You cannot have a functional life, a functional career with a dysfunctional relationship. Very critical. You see, everything rises and falls on your relationship quotient. Your ability to relate to people will ultimately determine how far you can go in life. See, people are not poor because of the absence of money. People are poor because they don't know how to maximize relationship. How gifted you are doesn't really guarantee success in life. Hence, you hear the statement, talent is not enough. That's absolutely true. Talent is not enough. What you can do is wonderful. What you know is wonderful. But you see, who you know also matters a great deal. That you are the Son of God like Jesus, see, really may keep you still in the house of Joseph until you have a John the Baptist to introduce you. It is critical to know that you may be as gifted as Joseph, but if you don't have a butler to mention your name in the palace, see, you will still stay in the prison. The lesson you're learning from all of this is that ultimately, next to God, you need the right relationships in your life. And that relationship includes who you're going to marry, who you put in your inner cycle, whose voice do you listen to, whose wisdom do you seek, whose words do you give your attention to. Let me say this quickly. You see, your life will be a mirror image of whose voice you listen to all the time. Now, listen, it's one thing to hear someone, but whose voice are you truly listening to? And the proof that you are listening to someone is going to be measured by how much of what you hear you do, right? So never forget this. You will always progress as the companies you keep. You will always progress as the company you keep. So it's always important to know that Timothy will never have been known if Paul had not stepped into the equation of his life. Paul was not the one that got Timothy converted. Paul was not the one that taught Timothy the Bible in the beginning. But if not for Paul, Timothy will have remained with his mother. Timothy will have remained in the congregation where he was until Paul came into his life. It matters a great deal what relationships you keep. And it's also important to know that you have to be very cautious of the relationships you must not keep. So it's both ways. I have to be mindful of relationships I should not keep, and I also have to be mindful of relationships I must keep. Two sides of a coin that guarantee success in the world of relationship. Jesus was very forthright. You know what he said to his disciples? He said to his disciples, don't mingle with the Pharisees. Jesus will say, go this way. And Jesus will say, don't go that way. Jesus will say, go to this person. And Jesus will say, don't go to that person. So Jesus was not a man that just allowed his disciples to, fraternize with everybody. No. In fact, that affected my theology. I thought love permits you to fraternize with everybody as a leader. I thought love makes a leader to tell his followers, fraternize with everybody. Until I was with my mentor recently, and my mentor taught me something I never knew. He said, son, he said the proof of loving leadership is to make sure you tell your people who they should not relate with. Now, that is counterintuitive to my own personality, which is very liberal. Go anywhere you want to go to. Listen to anybody you want to listen to. That's not true. Jesus said, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. Meaning Jesus was so much careful about who those who follow him connect with. And you see, because Judas will not listen to the words of Jesus, Judas actually went into a relationship with the people that Jesus said he should not relate with. You will always have people who are deviants. You will always have people who are countercultural. You will always have people who are rebellious by nature. Jesus said, beware of the Pharisees. Don't get close to them. Judas said, those are the people that I'm going to get close to. Here's always where the problem lies. Once you start relating with people that speak ill of your leader, you will soon rebel against your leader. It's the way life works. Once you start entertaining the voice of a rebel, you will soon rebel against your leader. Pastor Sam, where is that in the Bible? Oh, I remember it's in Genesis chapter 2. And you saw the case of Judas, right? Let's go down to Genesis chapter 2. The Bible made us understand that the serpent was in the garden. As soon as Eve began to listen to the serpent, she rebelled against the voice of God. You see, people don't know this. The proof of disloyalty is usually measured by your proximity to those who hate your leader. You hear what I just said right now? The proof of your loyalty is usually measured by your proximity to those who hate your husband. You are a disloyal person if you are in relationship with those who are against your husband. It's disloyal. Doesn't make sense. Oh, I hear buts coming to your mind. Oh, Bazan, but keep the buts. We're going to deal with that later. Is that okay? I know where your buts are going to. So never forget this. It is not loyalty if, as a man, you are entertaining the voice of your mother against the wife you have taken an oath with. That's disloyalty. Your mother's voice will soon color your perspective about your wife. The wife you thought was beautiful years ago, the woman you said you are in love with, you're going to start doubting her beauty and her potential once you start rewarding your ears with the wrong voice. That's what destroys marriages. It's not that the woman you said was beautiful has stopped being beautiful. Somebody's voice has distorted her perspective in your sight. You can tell that we're in for something really deep today, right? So I'd like you to get ready, because today I'm going to be speaking to you on high-performing relationships. And one of the things that I want to do today is to share with you 7 things you must never do to maximize high-performing relationships. All relationships are not high-performing. Have you realized that by connecting with some individuals, your hidden talents suddenly began to find expression? Number 2, have you realized that by connecting with some individuals, just by coming into their space, your visibility has increased? Have you realized that by just associating with some people and just staying around them, have you realized that your self-worth has increased? Your self-value has increased. Your worldview has increased. It is called high-performing relationships. Any environment that increases your self-potential is a high-performing environment. Any environment, any relationship that makes you introspect, any relationship that makes you to begin to, even in a painful way or in a joyful way, any relationship that causes you to begin to go into self-actualization is a high-performing relationship. All right. Okido. So we're going into the depths of relationship talks today, and I hope you're truly ready. You want to take some notes as I'm talking. You want to type fast. You want to record, whatever you have to do. I'm going to be saying things that are very deep, and they'll be very helpful to you. Highly philosophical, based on scriptural perspective, and are universal in their application. Is that okay? So I'd like you to please take note of that. There are 3 kinds of relationships. There are 3 kinds of relationships. Number one is what we call downline relationships. Those of you that are into the multi-level marketing, you will understand what downline relationships are. Downline relationships, that's number 1. Number 2, there's what we call sideline relationships. Sideline or horizontal relationships, right? Number 3 is what we call upline relationships. Upline relationships. What do this actually mean? Downline relationship, let's start with that. Downline relationships are relationships between you and those who look up to you. Downline relationships are relationships with people that really look up to you. You are their mentor, they are your proteges. So downline relationships are relationships with proteges. Write that down. Downline relationships are relationships with people that look up to you, proteges, your children, your staff, and people that subscribe to your wisdom. Those are your proteges. People who value your insight. People who value the knowledge that you carry and have decided to subscribe, to pursue, to acquire, to get that which you have. They are actually your downline relationships. Number two, we have what is called your sideline or horizontal relationship. That's relationship with people that are your peers. The first downline with proteges. The second one is with your peers. Your peers are not necessarily your age mates. Your peers are people who are at your level of achievement. They are doing something similar to what you are doing. They may be older than you are or younger than you are, but the reality is they are achieving something at the level at which you are achieving. Here's what I want to say. Don't get jealous or competitive with your peers. Learn from them. It is not wisdom for you to be competing with your peers. Learn from your peers. They are not your competitors, they are your complementors. Build relationship with them so that you can learn what they are doing and add to your own by tweaking it or adapting it. Yes, I can see somebody saying, oh my God, my friend needs to hear these things. My sister needs to hear this. My uncle needs to hear this. My father needs to hear this. Whosoever you think needs to hear it right now, get in touch with them and let them join us on board right now. And it's not a place for you to share the video right now. Go ahead and share the video right now so that others can be inspired by what is inspiring you. I've just done the same right now. Okay? Good. So we said we have three kinds of relationships. We have the downline relationships, which is relationship with your proteges or your proteges, those who are learning from you, your apprentices and your mentees and all of that. Okay? Number two is what we call sideline relationship, and that is relationship with your peers, those who are doing something similar to you, those who are in similar position with you, those who are accomplishing things almost at your level. Don't compete with them. Just compliment them. Learn from them. Ask them questions. Take them out for lunch. Visit them in their houses. Get to their enterprise. Get to see what they are doing. The reality is every time you get around them, you will see something they are not seeing. But you need to be in their environment to be inspired to see what you were not seeing before. Number three is what we call your upline relationship. Your upline relationships are your relationship with your mentors. Your relationship with your mentors, your pastors, your instructors, your coaches, anybody who speaks into your life, with your father, your mother. So long as the person is your wisdom provider, the person is your upline relationship. Now, let me say this quickly. Life cannot be complete without these three relationships operating simultaneously. What that means is that as you are receiving from your mentors, you should be challenged by your peers and you should be given to those who are below you. Can I say that again? As you are receiving from your mentors, you should be challenged by your peers and you should be given to those who are below you. Those are the three dimensions that guarantees your success in life. Don't just be a receiver from mentors and not be a giver to your mentees. In life, you breathe in and then you breathe out. It is a cycle of life. The same thing with relationship. You breathe in from your mentors, you breathe out to your mentees. It is what makes life a functional life. So we're looking at the keys today that guarantees highly effective relationships. 5 things you must remember about your relationships. Write this down. 5 things you must remember about relationships. Number 1, relationship is the gateway to fellowship, intimacy, and disclosure. Relationship is the gateway to intimacy, fellowship, intimacy, and disclosure. What that means is that relationship creates room for fellowship. Relationship creates room for fellowship. I can't fellowship with you if I'm not in relationship with you. And the deeper we get into fellowship, the more we become intimate. Right? And intimacy leads to disclosure. What does that mean? The more I get into you and you get into me, the more you get to see and you get to know, you get to hear things that I don't share with outsiders. See what I'm saying now? So you see, the lesson you're learning is there are things you get to know at the level of fellowship that you may not get to know at the level of superficial relationship. And there are things you get to know at the level of intimacy that you won't know at the level of fellowship. And there are disclosures you get by virtue of deep intimacy that you don't get at the level of initial superficial intimacy. In essence, the deeper you go, the more you know. The deeper you go, the more you know. Here's the lesson you must learn from that simple point that I made. Never commit, never entrust weighty responsibilities into the hands of people that you have not yet been convinced that you can trust such responsibilities into their hands. Never commit weighty, never entrust weighty responsibilities or secrets into the hands of people whose hearts you have not been convinced that you can commit sacred responsibilities or secrets into their hands. In essence, practice what we call disclosure by discretion. Can I say that again? Practice what we call disclosure by discretion. Look, it took about 3.5 years before Jesus truly disclosed who he was to only 3 of his disciples. He took them to the mountain shortly before he was going to be taken out of the earth. Now, watch this carefully. Only 3 of them had access to that level of disclosure, even though the others have walked with him for 3 years. Again, listen to me carefully. Practice disclosure by discretion. That's the way our God functions. Haven't you wondered how that, although you have been born again for years now, some of you have been born again for 5 years, you've been born again for 10 years, haven't you wondered how that God has not fully revealed himself to you? The closer you get, the more you know. The deeper you get, the more of himself he revealed. It is called disclosure by discretion. He loves you, but he can't trust you until he can trust you. He loves you, but he can't entrust into your hands sacred secrets until he can trust your hearts. See, it's dangerous to commit secrets into the hands of people because of what you hear coming from their head. The head can say anything. It is the heart that will eventually prove the head either wrong or right. The heart of man is desperately corrupt. So it is the heart that will eventually prove the head right or wrong. Take time before you commit into the hands of men sacred responsibilities and secrets. In fact, this is the rule. The more weightier the responsibility will be, the more weightier the secret will be, the more you should take your time to truly test before you trust. Test before you trust. All right, all right, all right. We're in for some stuff today, right? So never entrust weighty responsibility too early into people's hands until you are convinced that you can trust their hearts. Make sure you take note of that. Number two. So first thing I said is that relationship is a gateway to fellowship, intimacy, and disclosure. And I said you should practice disclosure by discretion. I'm sure you are watching me now. You've been injured in the past, right? You laid your eggs like ostrich in the hands of someone that made you believe that they are in for you, only to realize that they were not out to cover you, but to uncover you. So take your time in life, all right? You are not under any obligation to practice disclosure by force. Number two, learn this secret about relationship. Relationships are not of equal value. Relationships are not of equal value. Therefore, you must decide who qualifies for the investment of your time, your energy, your money, your emotions, and your wisdom. All relationships are not of equal value. Therefore, be discretional enough to know who to invest your time into. Love everybody, but carefully choose who you invest your time into, who you invest your energy into, who you invest your wisdom, your emotions, who you invest all of that into. Elisha had the sons of the prophet. He had so many sons in the school of the prophet, but there was only one man worthy of the investment of his time, and that man was Elisha. Now watch this carefully. There were so many sons in the school of the prophet, but only one son made himself worthy of the investment of Elisha's time, energy, resources, emotions, and wisdom, plus his anointing. In the time of Elijah, there were so many prophets. In fact, when Elijah said, I alone am left a prophet in Israel, God said, no, there are 300 other prophets. Watch this carefully. Even though there were 300 prophets, none of them qualified for the investment of Elijah's wisdom, anointing, and grace. Why? Pursuit is the proof of desire. My mentor said something to me I will never forget. He says, Sam, don't let the generosity of your heart make you want to pour wisdom on fools. He said, first of all, discern pursuit before you transmit wisdom. Can I say that again? Discern pursuit before you transmit wisdom. That was what Jesus meant when Jesus said, don't cast your pearls, your precious wisdom, before swine. He said they would trample on it. That is why there are things you have shared with people who, instead of appreciating it, they've turned around to use the same innocent thing you shared to hurt you. So there are some never do things in relationships. Remember this. All relationships are not of equal value. Everybody does not deserve 1 hour of your time. Stop spending time with people that won't bring a return on the investment of your time. You can tell when you start talking. There's a way to test people that don't qualify for the impartation of your wisdom. There's a way to test them. Start sharing superficial wisdom and start watching their countenance. You can tell when they are not ready for truth. Is that okay? They are not people that are looking for depth. That's what the Bible means when the Bible says deep calleth unto deep. All right? So when the Bible says deep calleth unto deep, this is how to know somebody who values your wisdom. Once you start sharing superficial truth, like the disciples, they will come and say, sir, can you tell me more? On the contrary, watch the presence of a fool. This is how it is always manifested. When you start sharing superficial truth, the person will be looking for ways to cut the conversation short. It just shows that such a person doesn't value your wisdom. What do? Never talk to the person again about such things. The person has proven himself unworthy of your wisdom. All relationships are not of equal value. Everybody doesn't deserve to have your time, to have your emotions poured out, to have your wisdom. Everybody doesn't deserve it. So if you notice the way Jesus did it, he had the crowd, he had 120, he had 12, and he had 3. Can you see how we compartmentalize his relationships? What he shared with the 3, he did not share with the 12. What he shared with the 12, he did not share with the 120, the 70. What he shared perhaps with the 70, he didn't share with the 120. What he shared with the 120, he didn't share with the crowd. Compartmentalize your relationship. There are those who are just good for being friendly with, but they are not supposed to be friends with you. Oh my God. I'm sharing with you keys to high-performing relationships. Number 3, relationship influences the flow of wisdom and the outcomes of your life. Write that down. Relationship influences the flow of wisdom and the outcomes of your life. Can I say that again? Relationship influences the inflow of wisdom and the outcome of your life. It is therefore important for you to understand that you check the character, the reputation, the results, and the accomplishment of individuals before you reward them with your ears. Check individuals, their track record, their consistency, their character, their reputation, their results, their progressiveness. Check such individuals. Make sure you have established certain non-negotiables before you commit to giving them your ears and your heart. Otherwise, your life will mirror the life of who you listen to. So I associate with people that I want my life to mirror their lives. And I invest into those relationships. So most of you must have heard me. I mean, you can't be around me and not hear Bishop Jakes. Is that okay? I started listening to him way back in the 90s. You know, I will spend money when it was even difficult to get his materials. I will invest into buying his materials. I was in a city in Nigeria called Lagos. And there was only one store that goes to the United States to bring Bishop Jakes tapes and Noel Jones. So I will spend my money. I will buy his materials. I'll buy Kenneth Hagin's materials. So there were key individuals that I rewarded in my early years. Charles Scott. I gave such people my heart and my ears. I also made sure that locally I had 1 or 2 persons. Listen, not gifted men of God, but men of God with character. I gave them my ears and I gave them my heart. I am a reflection of the investment of their wisdom. In my city, and you know the beautiful thing is that because I valued Bishop Jake's wisdom, over time, as God will have it, I had the opportunity of getting to meet him, getting to belong to his partners. I'm still a partner of his at the highest level. I sow deeply into his life. Why? I am sowing into the soil from where I want to get an harvest. I value his wisdom, so I sow into his grace. And I'm seeing myself replicate the same things that he's been doing. He does leadership, I do leadership. He talks to pastors, I talk to pastors. He talks relationship, I talk relationship. He's into psychological and philosophical theology. I do philosophical and psychological theology. Mirror. You will always mirror the wisdom you appreciate. In essence, if you want to see where your life is heading towards, look at the guys around you. If you are surrounded by rebels, it's a pointer of what your future is going to look like. Because rebels don't have a future. All over the world, rebellious people don't have a future. Because the seed of rebellion will ultimately destroy their potential. So check around you. Who am I? Who do I reward with my ears? Right in my city here, I have someone I go to regularly. In the last few years, I have a man I honor so very much, Apostle Goodhart. I go to him. Everybody in our church know that. Bishop Abioye, I go to sit down with him. See, the reason is that I don't want to be a headless head. I don't want to be the head of an organization without a head over my life. So I value the wisdom of this person. And you know what? I'm replicating their results. So relationship influence the inflow of wisdom and the outflow of results. The results you'll be producing will be a reflection of the wisdom you are receiving. Can I say that again? The results you'll be producing will be a reflection of the wisdom that you're receiving. I was with my mentor recently and we're talking about, the space that our church, the landed property that our church has. And my mentor looked at me and he said, "Sir," and I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "That landed property is too small for what God is calling you to do." He said, "I want you to stretch now, go and look for something several times more than what you are pursuing, what you have right now." That is the voice of a wisdom, of a mentor. The voice of a mentor stretches you. The voice of your peers keeps you comfortable. Your mentor's voice stretches you out of your comfort zone. Your peer's voice keeps you within your comfort zone. The danger is this: never discuss with your peers what your mentor discussed with you, because their mind's capacity is too small to handle his own level of wisdom. If you're not careful, your peers will begin to advise you against your mentor, because they will feel that what your mentor is telling you is too much. That was why the sons of the prophet said to Elisha, "Stay here." The voice of his mentor was saying, "Follow." The voice of his peers was saying, "Stay." Oh my goodness. Am I helping you today? Am I helping you today? Yeah, go ahead. Take note and listen to this over and over again. Number 4, relationship decides the flow of favor. The relationship decides the inflow of favor or the beginning of labor. Take note of that. Relationship decides the inflow of favor or the beginning of labor in your life. Who you are related with will ultimately decide the inflow of favor into your life, or it will be the beginning of labor in your life. Why? Relationships actually makes you get access acceptance, assistance, and acceleration. Relationship makes you to get access, assistance, acceptance, and acceleration. In the same vein, when you are wrongly related, you begin to notice you are getting rejection. You begin to notice your life is having storms. You begin to notice battles, labor, struggles. It's about who did you just connected with recently. Lot was connected to Abraham, and Lot increased. As soon as Lot got connected to Sodom, Lot lost everything. It's about association. Judah was connected to Jesus. His life was preserved. He got connected to the Pharisees. His life was rounded up. It's about association. Now, let me give you the fifth thing you need to write about relationships. Relationship is specific in function. Relationships are specific in function. What that simply means is that you must learn to understand why some individuals are in your life. Learn to understand why some individuals are in your life so that you don't misappropriate, misuse, or abuse relationships. Some people are in your life to be your interpreters. They provide you with wisdom as your mentors and your coaches, your instructors and your pastors, your teachers. They are just in your life to provide you with wisdom. They are your interpreters. Some are your introducers. They don't provide you with wisdom. They just take you by the hand and link you up with people. They link you up with places and platforms. They link you up with opportunities. There are people in your life who are encouragers, whose assignment is just to pump you up and charge you and tell you, go on. You can do it. They pray you up. They charge you up. They challenge you. Identify individuals for who they are in your life so you don't abuse their presence. There are people who are providers. Their assignment is to bless you with money, bless you with resource. I give you opportunity and give you what it takes to get your destiny activated. It can be your wife. She's your provider. It can be your friend, someone, who even be an unbeliever. And then you have people who are intercessors in your life. There are people who are partners in your life. They are just there in your life to help you get your job done. Some are there to pray you into your assignment. So recognize that relationships are specific in function. Relationships are specific in function. I'm excited about what I'm sharing with you today. Listen, I feel like listening to this myself, you know. 7 things you must never do in order to maximize all these relationships I've talked about. 7 things you must never do to maximize relationships, marriage relationship, business relationship, whatever kind of relationship. 7 things you must never do. Number 1, never violate or abuse your gift of access to people, platforms, privileges, positions, and places. Never violate or abuse your gift of access to certain people, to certain platforms, privileges, position, or places. Never violate it. Never abuse it. I'm going to break that down for you. See, there are people who have entered seasons of adversity. They've entered into seasons of struggles and secret pain. Why? Trace it down. They have abused access. Can I say that again? Check some individuals that are going through struggles in their life. Some will pretend like they are not, but they are going through struggles. They are going through adversities. There are those who are going through so much pain secretly. Why? They abused access. They violated access. I've seen some singles, some married persons who had access to some individuals they were supposed to marry, but they abused that access. And now they are married, but they are going through secret pain. Why? They abused access. Adversity is the reward of the abuse of access. Every time you abuse an access that God gives you, you suffer adversity in return. You suffer famine in return. You suffer secret pain in return. No matter what you show people on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, you know in your house you are suffering secret pain. Why? You abused access. Never forget this. Lot, the follower of Abraham, suffered adversity in life. Now watch this. The adversity did not come immediately after he abused access. It was years after that he suffered adversity because of initial abuse of access. Be careful not to abuse access. Please, I want to speak to you from my heart today. Be careful not to abuse access. It can send you into a season of adversity. Unfortunately, you might not be the only one that will suffer it. Your family may suffer it with you. All of a sudden, doors are now slammed before your face. Your gift is still there. Your talent is still there. But you just find out that doors are being slammed in your face. Influence is drastically dropping. Why? Abuse of access. Lucifer abused access. The outcome of Lucifer's abuse was that he became Satan and he was dethroned from heaven because he abused and violated access. Never abuse your access to your husband. Never abuse your access to your wife. It's a God-given access you must cherish. Never abuse your access to your boss in the office. Never abuse your access to your parents. Never abuse your access to your pastors. Never abuse your access to your intercessors. Those who do so, they suffer greatly. Ask Gehazi. Gehazi had access to Elisha. Elisha that carried the double portion anointing. Gehazi would have had triple portion anointing. But he abused access and carried leprosy. It is the abuse of access. Who would have ever thought that a man so close to Gehazi will end up as a leprous man in life? Be careful of people you have access to. Your life can be worse off after associated with them because you abuse access. Who would have ever thought that a man who had access to Jesus, like Judas, who would have ever thought, Judas Iscariot, that a man who was close to Jesus, who raises the dead, who would have ever thought that such a man will die by suicide having been close to the source of life himself. It is the abuse of access. Never take for granted anybody God brings you into a relationship with. The misuse of God-given access always attracts famine. It attracts sicknesses. It attracts hidden, undiagnosable ailments. It attracts misfortune. It attracts setbacks. I've seen it. Go through your Bible. Can anybody remember a man called Ahithophel? Ahithophel was so close to David. He was David's confidant. He abused access and eventually left David and went and began to malign David before Absalom because he wanted privilege from Absalom. So he was destroying his boss before the son of his boss. What was the outcome? He suffered a very tragic death. The abuse of access is causing people so much pain. Check politics. Somebody was in PDP. Somebody was in APC. Cross carpet. You have access. You cross carpeting. And some people's careers have been totally destroyed because of the lack of capacity to manage access. So you want to have a high performance relationship, never violate or abuse your gift of access to people, to platforms. You are given an opportunity to be on a platform. Don't abuse it. The lesson we have learned is that platforms don't multiply to those who abuse one. Check it out. If you know anybody who has abused a platform, check it up. Their platforms begin to decline. Access to platforms begin to go down. If you see anybody that God is just opening platforms for, they know something you don't know. It is the management of access. God has blessed them with special grace to manage access to people. If you see somebody that God is just blessing with connections with the right people, with people that matter, hey, it's not happening by accident. It's happening by the intentional commitment, genuine management of access. Never, never abuse access to platforms, to privileges. You are given privileges, don't abuse it. Joseph, you are given the privilege to be in charge of the house. You were not given privilege to be in charge of the wife. Joseph was a guy who knew how to manage access. That was why, watch what God did for him. God promoted the guy. In the prison, he managed access. In the palace, he managed access. Management of access led to his elevation in life. I'm sure by now you can see why you have lost some vital relationships. And let me say this. If you are the type that always say, well done, after all, you close this door. You cut this relationship off. Enter another one. Cut it off. And you keep making it. You never see where you go wrong. You keep cutting off relationships. Watch it out. Watch out. Every time you keep cutting off vital relationship, you start slimming down your destiny. What we say is that you start funneling down. It means you are already dead on arrival. Your career has come to an end before it began. Because you lack the capacity to manage access. Listen, I have so much to share. I need to move very quickly. My. Number 2, never be quick to expose or run down secretly anyone you have not run out to correct privately. Can I say that again? Never be quick to expose or run down secretly somebody you have not run out to. Correct privately. I have seen this destroy. I have been a victim of it. I have made mistakes in these areas. And I've seen many make mistakes in this area. And it's happening in Africa like crazy. It's happening around the world. It is called crabology. Have you seen crabs in a bucket? You know when you have crabs in a bucket, when this crab wants to rise up, the other one pulls him down. Ultimately, none of them rises up. Okay? Here's what I want to say to you, and please don't forget this. Don't be quick to expose or run down people secretly, particularly when you've not run to them privately to tell them what you have observed about them. Because you have access to know something about someone doesn't mean that you should run commentaries about their lives. It is a great mistake that Noah's son made. He saw his father's nakedness and decided to go public with it. Unfortunately, that has become the undoing of that guy for generations after. We are made to understand that that son of Noah is actually the great source of the black race. I don't know how true that is, but there are so many evidences to point to that. They call them Cushites. All right? What we are saying is that a man had access to the nakedness of another, and he didn't understand that nakedness, if you are given access to see somebody's nakedness, is an invitation to cover it up. It is not an invitation to expose it, except if it's a sin, except if it's a crime. But somebody's weakness should not be an opportunity for you to go and run commentary on the person's life. It normally backfires, and it backfires beyond you. And we do this all the time, all of us. It is our default setting to talk about what we have seen, to run commentaries about people's lives. Number 3, never let what you hear about somebody make you change your perspective about the person without your own personal interaction and revelation from the person. Very powerful key. This is really going to help you. Can I say this? Somebody is jealous of your access to someone. And the only way to destroy your access is to poison your mind. Never let anybody come and color your perspective about somebody, about your wife. Don't let your mother, don't let your sister call you to the side and say, hey, I know you love your wife, but I'm not sure you know some things I know about her. The moment she says about your wife, say, can I invite my wife? Let my wife be seated. Or when she tells you, tell her that I'm going to call my wife and I'm going to mention your name. And I'll tell her you said so. Normally they'll tell you, no. I don't want my name to be mentioned. Anyone who says they don't want their name to be mentioned, they are not doing you good. Never let somebody's perspective, somebody's opinion about someone you admire eventually destroy your perspective about the person. Listen, my conflict with Mr. X should not be the reason why you should have conflict with me. So be very cautious. Don't allow people to transfer their aggression to you. Don't let some people live out through you their pain to somebody else. Never let somebody's perspective, opinion about another person color your perspective. like to find out things for myself. If you say somebody's a thief, I want to get close to the person. I want to find out. You are not going to dictate to me how I should relate with somebody I have not yet made inquiries about. Listen, it is premature and unwise for you to base your conclusions and your judgment based on somebody else's observation without the discipline of interaction for self-revelation. Get to find out things yourself. Get to ask somebody, is it true? And tell the person telling you, I'm going to meet the person and I will quote you. That's how to do it. Don't be a dumping ground for gossip. Don't be a dumping site for tale-bearing. Here you are now, a wife you love. You are looking at her now from a colored perspective because somebody told you something. You've not sat down with your wife to ask and know if it is true. You're already reacting to your wife based on a very skewed, based on a very, very deceptive and destructive information. Here you are, somebody you used to share bonds with. You can't share bonds. Somebody you learn from, you can't learn from anymore because someone has colored your perspective. Number 4, never speak foolishly about problems or people based on surface observation without deep understanding. Never speak about problems, never make commentaries about problems, about situations, about people based on surface observation. Make sure you have deep understanding before you run commentaries. You don't know anything about COVID. You have no research about COVID. Don't go and stand before the public and say COVID is caused by 5G network. That's not wise. Don't go and stand before the public and say to the public that Bill Gates already has vaccines that they want to bring and they are going to start giving us the vaccine and that the vaccine already has chips inside it. As we are talking, nobody has yet created a vaccine. So where did we get the message from? That Bill Gates has created vaccines already. So don't talk about things you are uninformed about. Speaking without information only makes you foolish. And it makes wise people to back up from you. Gather your facts. Take time to gather your facts. And I share this with you because I have suffered this in the past. Spend time to gather your facts. It is an error that leaders make. I think we have some presidents in some countries now that their followers are challenging seriously because they don't have the facts. And yet they make statements based on wrong facts or wrong conclusions. Proverbs chapter 18 verse 13, the Bible says, he that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is only foolishness and shame to the person. So take your time. When you hear something about your husband, that your husband is cheating, get the facts before you start closing your legs and say, hey, I'm not going to let you sleep with me. You don't have the facts until then. Maintain your behavior as a wife. Once you don't have the facts, don't use sentiments and all these primordial things. Don't use them. Make sure you gather facts before you start reacting. Or based on revelation. Is that okay? Number 5. Never become bitter, resentful, or offended at someone you have not confronted over their offense towards you. Never become bitter, resentful, or offended at someone that you have not yet gone to speak to about their offense. Someone offended you. The person didn't know that the person has offended you, and yet you have taken offense. You are resentful. You are bitter. You are avoiding. You are now even becoming, you are castigating. You are becoming revengeful. Unfortunately, the person is unaware of the fact that the person hurt you. Your husband is not aware, and yet you are reacting. Your wife is not aware, and yet you are reacting. Wisdom and scripture says, go and tell the person. If the person refuses to acknowledge, invite another person, a leader, invite the leadership of the church. We are willing to do that, but we are in a hurry to tell somebody else about the offense. Unfortunately, the church likes to hear tales. So we destroy the culture. It is ugly, it is ungodly to be offended at someone who has not been confronted with your perceived offense. It is just ungodly. Get to the person. Hey, sorry, sir. Hey, sorry, ma'am. Hey, sweetheart. Hey, darling. You offended me. If you can't speak face to face with the person, social media has made it easy. Speak into a voice, whatever. Text it. Have a video call. The person can slap you from there. Number 6, never economize or withhold the need to express your appreciation or gratitude to somebody who is giving his best or adding value to your life. Never economize. Never withhold the need to appreciate, express your gratitude to someone who is adding value to your life. Learn to reach out and tell the person thank you. Appreciate the person. Find ways to also add value to the person's life. Never fail to appreciate someone who is adding value to your life, adding value to your enterprise. Never fail to appreciate them. Finally, never let your voice be the only voice that your ear hears and your head recognizes. Never let your voice be the only voice that your ear hears and your head recognizes. Neither should you let your perspective be the only perspective that is valid. Is that all right? Make sure that you seek wisdom, seek mentors, seek coaches. Get to sit down with others. Let them speak into your life. The goals that I'm pursuing right now, before I began to pursue them, I had to take them to my mentor. And he said, what do you want to pursue? And I laid it all out before him. And he said, that one, this is how to go about it. The other one, that's how to go about it. That's what makes life easy. That's what makes the journey easier. Making sure you are not the only voice in your own life. Making sure you are not the only voice that you listen to. Making sure there's somebody else that you listen to that adds value to your life. I'm out of time, but I'm not out of words. If you have any question you want to ask me, I'll be more than willing to attempt any question within the next 1 minute. I hope you remember the things that I've shared with you today. Yes, Auntie Mary said it right. Be appreciative of people who add value to your lives and find ways to add value to their own lives too. Find ways to add value to their lives also. Yes, Timmy, you said it right. Life is easier When you have sound counsel, you listen to. Otherwise, you will learn from your life's experience. Absolutely correct. By the way, everybody should check on Antonia's page. Antonia, check out for Antonia on your chat now. She has summarized everything I've shared with you today. She does it like nobody else does it. She's just exceptional in at what she does. How she does it, I don't even know. She's been able to summarize everything. So check it and copy it. So you can have my sermon note from Antonia's chat. Somebody's asking, can we have the media put this teaching on CD for us to buy? Yes, sir. We're going to put everything together. We're going to make the DVDs of them. We're going to make the CDs of them. Oh, you don't need DVDs anymore. So we're going to make the CDs of them. You're going to have access so you can listen to them. You have them in your flash pen. You can travel with them. I understand you need these things. Listen, can anybody say to me, let me see the number. Which number really got at you? I want to hear from you right now. Which of the numbers out of the 7 that I shared with you, which one got at you? Which one do you want to make adjustment on? Which one are you saying, hey, Pastor Sam, I need to work on number 4. I need to work on number 5. That got at me. I'm making mistakes in that area. I need to work on number what? Speak to me. I need to hear from you right now. Which one gets at you? Which one got at you? Yes, I'm waiting to hear from you. My internet is acting up, so let me connect to something. All right, so I'm waiting on you. Fantastic. Toyin said number 1. Sylvie, you said, Pastor, don't you think people should know who they are? Yes, Sylvie, people should know who they are. You cannot know who you deserve to connect with until you know who you are. And you will not value the wisdom of anybody if you don't know where you're going to. So purpose, your assignment and your goals will make you value the input and the wisdom of the people that God sends into your life. Toyin said number 1. Oh my goodness, somebody said I'm guilty of all. I'm guilty of all. Somebody said number 1, management of access. I'm glad this made sense. Somebody said number 5. Somebody said disclosure by discretion is what I need to work on. I'm happy that this makes practical sense. Go and watch this over and over again. If you have not shared it, go ahead and share it right now and watch it again. Do a party. Tomorrow is Saturday. There's not going to be evening meeting, so you can play this back in the evening tomorrow. Gray said number 4. Patience said all 7. Oh my God. Sophia said number 7. Oyeye said number 3. Favor said number 7. Somebody said number 6. Wow, wow, wow. Natasha, number 5. Amazing. All 7. Okay. What are you guys saying on YouTube? Oh my goodness. YouTube guys, number 2. Somebody said not abusing access. Somebody said never let your voice be the only voice you hear and recognize. God bless you for that. Somebody said number 5. Somebody said number 2. Somebody said number 1 and number 2. I'm glad that it all makes sense to everybody. Do you know somebody that needs to learn also from this? All right? Think about the person and make sure you send them the link. Think about somebody who needs to hear what you've heard. Even those who are working with you, your staff. Yes, you can play this for your staff so they don't take access to the organization for granted. Because, by the way, if they abuse the access, they will find themselves in a jobless market. And they will then begin to cry and be praying in church for financial breakthrough and job breakthrough. Whereas the reason why they are jobless is because they abuse access. Lucifer is jobless up till date. Lucifer, Satan, is jobless up till date because of one abuse of access. One abuse of access. Look at what it did to Lucifer. So make sure you're very careful. When God brings you around people, maximize it. Maximize it. I love you so very much. And I will see you tomorrow. Don't forget, 1 p.m. Nigerian time. We're going to be having America Praise. Those of you that like to go to America, you want to go and do vacation in America, everybody's praying for again. This is Samuel is saying, keep on keeping on. God bless you. 7:30 on Sunday, 9 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning, Nigerian time. I'm going to be preaching 2 major messages. We are not resuming church on Sunday. We want to make sure we study everything that is going on first. And hopefully we'll announce when our Sunday service will start very shortly. Until then, this is Samuel saying, bye-bye.